I see. Well, ho, chaps and chappets, game chap and birdie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows, and I dare say we are now discussing the question, what would happen if Five Nights at Freddy's Freddy Fazbear really joined Super Smash Bros. On Wii U and 3DS?
Right, so what would happen if he joined?
Yes, that is the question, old boy. Now, of course, firstly we have to ask ourselves, why are we even discussing this question of this outsider character joining Smash Bros.?
Well, exactly. Well, I suppose he's a character, isn't he?
Well,
like
yes.
any other character. But of course, he's also been on this poll thing that Nintendo did.
Yes.
And quite a lot of people did vote for him.
They did, yes. You see, Five Nights at Freddy's is actually quite a popular series, fellows, and it seems a great many people did indeed put forward their vote for Freddy Fazbear in Super Smash Bros.
Well, they did indeed. Now,
So, what would happen if the chap actually got into the game?
well, yes, indeed. Now, I think firstly, people would be shocked.
Yes, I think I agree there, old boy, certainly.
I mean, they would be shocked. There'd be uproar in the Smash Brothers community, if you like.
There certainly would, yes, because you see, whilst Freddy Fazbear is quite a popular character, he is also a very controversial character, it seems, and perhaps some people might even give up Smash as a result.
Well, it could happen. They could be so upset that people say, right, just throw the controller to the wall. No, I don't want him in and I shan't play anymore. Could happen.
They might say, why have Nintendo done this? Why is this horrible character in Smash Bros? He doesn't belong here, etc. and so forth. But then other people might also say, well, this is a dream come true. I can't believe it. It's like my birthday and Christmas all rolled into one, you know. So you'd have these two ideas perhaps going on here.
Well, certainly. I suppose the others, the ones that wanted him, they might think it's good. Yes, indeed.
Well, exactly. Now, then, the next stage, perhaps people would start to play as Freddy Fazbear and get used to the character, and he'd also appear a lot online, of course, because many people would use him online, and people would start to see and use his moveset.
Well, yes, indeed. Yes, that's a good point. I think, yes, of course, naturally people will start to play him.
Yes.
And I think, I think a lot of people perhaps might start to play him to wind other people up,
To troll people.
Just troll them, just get
Yes.
another Freddy Fazbear coming at you, sort of.
Yes, and speaking of moveset, I mean, what exactly would his moves be for this horror teddy bear character?
Well, this is the thing, this is all part of the if, because he's got, if he did join, he's got to have some move sets, he's got to have some fighting sort of skills, etc., and moves.
I know, but you can't compare him to Mario, though. He's totally different. He must be different from the other fighters in the game.
Well, exactly. I mean, Mario's got his own sort of thing he does, his jumps and everything he does. I mean, Freddy Fazbear, he sort of really just sneaks about, really, I suppose, doesn't he?
That's right, yes. I think he would have to move in Super Smash Bros., unlike in the game Five Nights at Freddy's, when you're looking at the character. He'd have to move around, but his attacks, perhaps, would revolve more around this horror teddy bear type mechanic, instead of, punches and kicks, etc. and so forth.
Well, yes, I think so. It would have to. I mean, he'd still have to have those punches and kicks, I think.
Yes,
certainly.
Yes, I do agree. Yes,
he'd have to have them, but he'd have to have those things unique to him, like all the other characters do. They have their own sort of unique things.
That's right. Mr. Sakurai said every character has to have their own unique mechanics. So this also would have to have the same thing. So, I mean, for example, his final smash obviously would involve stuffing the other fighters into a teddy bear suit. I mean, and then they sort of just explode and get KO'd off the screen, I suppose.
Well, I suppose something like that. A bit like the villager's house, I suppose, yes?
Yes, that's right. Tom Nook, of course, they build a house and then, the fighter gets sent up into the sky, etc. Now, one attack of Freddy Fazbear could involve sneaking up on the enemy and catching them by surprise, rather like he does in his game, and also similar to Greninja.
I suppose it could, well, it'd have to, wouldn't it? Because that's what he does.
He sneaks up and he grabs them. So let's say he sort of, I don't know, he gets behind them somehow and he perhaps deceives them or creates a double of himself, or perhaps he temporarily turns invisible, or whatever else you might say, sneaks up on the enemy and suddenly he grabs them just like that and attacks them and things,
well,
whatever.
Yes, he could indeed do that. Now, perhaps also he could somehow drain the power of their shield with some sort of special clever move of some type. I don't know what.
That's good, because of course in Five Nights at Freddy's your power drains as the longer you stay in the office for the night, doesn't it, of course? So perhaps he could somehow drain the enemy's shield power in a similar mechanic.
Oh yes, I suppose I have to be careful with that one though, because the longer the player was fighting against Freddy Fazbear.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, then their health goes down. That would be it's completely imbalanced, wouldn't it?
No, let's be sensible here. Of course, the longer you fight against Lucario, the higher his damage goes and the more powerful his attacks become. So in Freddy's case, it could be the longer you fight against him, the less shield power you have. So that could be a rather interesting mechanic there. Perhaps overpowered. It would have to be play tested, I should say. But it's an interesting idea, playing on the power idea in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Well, it is, I suppose.
Now also, Freddy Fazbear could play a music box to temporarily increase his attack power or confuse the foe.
A bit of a
like he does.
thing. Yes, like he does. Yes, I suppose he could do a little bit of music.
The scary music.
Yes,
to
possibly.
throw them off. That's right.
One he could do. Also, could he not perhaps call on sort of allies, sort of thing?
Like who?
Well, I don't know, maybe Chica and Foxy, something like that.
Oh, Bonnie, and yes, I suppose he could do, yes, to aid him in some moves, perhaps.
Or those cupcake things.
Oh, yes, he could throw the cupcakes at them. Chica could make the cupcakes. He could throw cupcakes at the enemy. That's a good idea. Yes.
Well, it is, but remember also, he would also have to have the punches and kicks as well as we said, I think.
Yes, you can't really see Freddy Fazbear doing punches and kicks and firing guns at people, but then again, can you see Yoshi doing punches and kicks? Not really either, so...
Well, I suppose not.
I think it would work.
I mean, this is just all the if, you know.
Hypothetical,
This
yes.
is all the if, you see.
Yes, perhaps what... Oh, I've got an idea. Perhaps he could throw his head, or a Freddy Fazbear head, at the enemy. The head could land on the enemy's head and cause their controls to be reversed.
You mean his hat?
Yes.
Not his head.
His hat, I mean. Yes,
Yes.
He puts the hat on the enemy's head, does he not, in the games?
It's very
suppose.
possible,
So
yes.
then, whilst the hat's on their head, they could take damage and perhaps have their controls reversed, but if they mash the buttons, they get out of it, rather like they do with Yoshi's egg lay.
Yes, I suppose it would be. Yes, it could be. Yes,
So perhaps a viable moveset might be able to emerge from those ideas. What do you think?
it's very possible.
Possible.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Now, I think the next stage, just having covered the moveset there,
Yes.
Freddy, after Freddy Fazbear's hypothetical introduction into the game, would be that after the initial shock, there would be two camps of people, would there not?
Well, I think so. I'm just thinking as well. I mean, there'd probably be another camp of people who would say, "Who on earth is this character?"
Oh, yes. So
I mean, we haven't thought of that. What about all the people out there, Please Smash, that's never played Five Nights at Freddy's? You know, they might not necessarily go on YouTube, for example.
Well.
Say, well, okay. Who is this character?
I think, yes, you'd have people who love him, people who hate him, people who absolutely detest him, and people who say, well, yes, indeed, who is Freddy Fazbear? Just as I'm sure some people have said, who's Ryu, who's Cloud, etc., and so forth.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, just as you said there, moving on to the old camps thing, certainly I think that would happen because it's a passionate, sort of hatred for Freddy Fazbear.
Some people, they hate his guts, you know, they really, his robotic guts and intestines.
Just even the sort of idea just passing from the front of their mind sort of thing is just horrid, it's terrible.
I know, it turns their faces boiling blood red with rage.
It does, and equally, there are others who
love Freddy
like
Fazbear.
to see him.
And certainly, I think some people would obviously main this character. You'd have Freddy Fazbear mains, perhaps fans of the series, and also you might even get outsiders just trying out this new character. Maybe they don't even know who he is, but they like him so much they start to main him. So, it's quite an interesting idea. Also, I have to say, he would be one of the first horror-type characters to actually appear in Super Smash Bros., so he does have that unique thing going, I suppose.
Right, well, yes, he would be. So there you've got your two camp idea there. So,
Three camps.
Well, yes, three camps. Loads of people hating him, loads of people, or other people loving him, maybe, and then making him their main, as you say.
Yes.
And then a load of people saying, who on earth is this character?
Who is this character?
Who is this?
Who's this talking
This
robotic
bear.
horror bear? I mean, why is he scaring people?
who's
Exactly.
it?
So I think eventually, perhaps, Fideos, at the final stage of our road here, people might eventually one day, one sunny day off in the future, come to accept Freddy Fazbear in Smash, and that seems very, very unlikely now, I have to say, but perhaps with time and enough repeated, exposure to the notion of Freddy being in Smash, people might eventually say, well, okay, I suppose he's in Smash and I still hate him, but alright, he's here.
Well, it could happen, I suppose, if you shoved him, if you shoved him in their face long enough, they might
shove him down their throats. The
Yeah,
poor
they might
chaps.
say, okay, well, I have. But the thing is, could it sort of just do something to Smash? Could it in some way sort of degrade it by having this character in?
You think so? Yes, it could.
Well,
Some
we're
people
just saying we're ifs, aren't we? I mean,
Well-
putting him in there could some way, in the eyes of the fans and the players, they could say, well, if we could have him in there, we could have any sort of old character from any old thing in there.
Well,
and,
I mean,
it's
isn't
just
that
not the same sort of thing.
Do we not already have that, though? I mean, we've had Ryu in Smash. He's from Street Fighter. We've had Cloud in Smash Bros., the most recent
But
one.
you
He's from a
can't compare
PlayStation
Ryu
game.
to
Final Fantasy VII. Do we have, perhaps, a carte blanche, as it were here, which is a French term meaning, open road, for all of the chaps from any game series in the whole world to actually just come running into Smash Bros.? Because now it's no longer just about Nintendo's All-Stars. It's everyone. And by the way, carte blanche actually means white card, I think. But anyway, back to the point. It perhaps is indeed just an open invitation to all fighters from every game to come and join this battle on Nintendo's console.
Well, possibly, but I don't think you can in any way compare Ryu to
Ryu.
whoever he is, to Freddy Fazbear.
Why couldn't you?
Well, because
They both hit people.
comes
They
from-
both hurt people, don't
He
they?
comes from a sort of legendary game, does he not?
Well, yes, that is
It goes
true.
back for years and years. I mean,
Ryu is.
who's Freddy?
I do like Ryu, and I can't say I share the same interest in Freddy Fazbear joining Smash personally. That's just my opinion. But of course, many people have said they do want to see him in the game. So, well, I don't know. If you ask me, I think we've already reached the point where, as I say, Smash Brothers could have anyone in the roster. But is it necessarily a good thing to start bringing everyone in just because we can?
If he joined, it could cause chaos within the Smash community.
It would cause chaos
It
within the Smash
would cause.
community.
That's what we're saying. If he
Definitely.
joined, this is just chaos.
Yes, I think it would.
It's too much.
I mean,
Or is it?
my mind is cast back to the time when we had a new game on Wii called Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and at the time I said to myself, this is nice, but do you know, Sonic doesn't really belong next to Mario. I think it cheapens the whole thing of the Mario sports game, and that's just the way I thought at the time. Just like, you know, Mario wouldn't really belong in the Sonic game either. Now, would Freddy likewise cheapen Super Smash Bros. As a whole, should he join? That's the question, chaps and chappets. That's the question we must ask about this character, and indeed any character joining Smash. Some have said we could have Goku next, we could have, I don't know, some other character from some random anime or game show next, but I say, does the character add something to Smash? Is there a good reason for adding him to Smash? If so, he's a viable contender. If not, he should stay out on the sidelines.
Yes, I think you're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Game Chat and Birdie presenting to you a what-if scenario for Five Nights at Freddy's joining Super Smash Bros. Thank you most kindly for joining us, I say. I look forward to seeing you once more the next exciting outing, and don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comment section.
Oh, yes.
See you again, videos. Until then.
Oh, yes.